Laserfiche 9.1. We'll talk about the latest features and benefits with Laserfiche 9, including workflow, forms, and a new tool called RatchetX. My name is Sarah, and I'm the Sales and Marketing Coordinator here at AMI, and I will be your moderator today. A few housekeeping items I'd like to share. Each of your phones will be muted throughout today's call. If you have any questions during the webinar, there's a box in the bottom right of your screen where you can type them directly to me. All of the incoming questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. We have two speakers joining us today. The first will be Tom Denton, who is the Senior Account Executive at AMI, the Paperless company. Tom has been with AMI since 2010, and he brings over 20 years of experience helping companies digitize analog workflows. Michael Butler is our second presenter, and he is the ECM Services Manager for AMI. His professional background combines extensive startup experience with years of professional services and custom development projects. For today's agenda, we will start with a short presentation by Tom on the new features in Laserfiche 9, and then Michael will provide a demonstration, and we will end with a Q&A. We welcome audience participation, so if Tom shares a new feature you like, or Michael demos something cool, please do share your thoughts in the chat box. Let the chat box be like a social media feed. With that, I turn the webinar over to Tom.
Tom, I believe you're muted. I don't think any of us can hear you.
George, you're right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can now. Glad you're
Terrific.
back. We probably lost you for a second.
All right. Well, thanks for that. So I had started into, we're excited about today's presentation. As a matter of fact, when I was putting this PowerPoint together, it reminded me of an old GM ad. Does anybody remember that Oldsmobile ad that said, it's not your grandpa's Oldsmobile? Well, that's sort of what I thought about when I was putting together all of these new features that we're going to show you in 9.1. You know, it's not your grandpa's Laserfiche anymore. Now, unfortunately for GM, that turned out to be kind of a disastrous ad because there wasn't enough value in the new Oldsmobiles to attract a new market, and it completely alienated the grandpa market. And so it wasn't far after that that GM kind of closed down on Oldsmobile. But in the case of Laserfiche, this is completely different. First of all, if you've been using Laserfiche for a few years, you're using it mainly as a records management system for scanning, to go paperless, to have a secure archive. All of those features are stronger than ever. But what we hope to show you today is some supplemental features. And by the end of it, we suspect you might say, well, I had no idea Laserfiche was capable of that. So we intend to bring true value to your existing vehicle, you know, your existing Cutlass, right? We're going to pimp your Cutlass, you might say. And I hope that that's the sense you get out of it as we go along. Let me ask, we're going to talk a lot about forms, and I'm going to start a poll. So soon you're going to be able to recognize on the screen a quick poll that we're going to take in terms of how you're currently using forms. George, can you start that? Okay. So the poll's been opened. So everybody that's on the webinar should be able to see a poll. And what we'd like to know is, we'd like to know how or if you're using any forms currently. One option is you don't have any forms in the organization. Another might be, yeah, we use forms. You know, we've got a stack of them in a folder and we fill them out with pen and paper. Maybe you're using some form of digital form. Maybe it's an Excel or Word or PDF. And you print those out, and after you've filled it out, you scan it into Laserfiche. Maybe you use email for everything. Or maybe you've already upgraded and include forms in your existing Laserfiche configuration. Please take a minute to fill that out. Very curious about our results.
Like the results are coming in. If anybody has any questions, you can just actually click on the radio button right on the screen. And this is a live poll that we're doing here. And so we'll just give people another 10 or 20 seconds to put their votes in, and then we'll close it out.
Can you see those results, George? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Too.
Are you
good? I do too.
Can too? Okay, great. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close it, and if it works right, it should show the results on the screen as well. Let's see. Okay, Tom, back to you.
Okay, terrific. So the results are in. 13% are not using forms in the organization. 63%, the vast majority, are utilizing digital forms from Excel or Word, PDF, that kind of thing. And 13% are on email, and 13% are currently using Laserfiche forms. So for the vast majority, we suspect that the first part of the presentation and especially the demo is going to really open your eyes about the possibilities as it relates to utilizing Laserfiche forms. And that's part of our introduction today. We're going to talk about Laserfiche forms, business processes related to Laserfiche forms, client and web access, new features within Laserfiche 9, Laserfiche mobile, and then quick fields, some new updates within quick fields. So speaking of forms, let's jump into it. So as we saw from the poll, a number of people are utilizing forms in general, either with pen and paper or with Word, and then distributing those by hand, for instance. Some of them are distributing those via email. Some of our Laserfiche customers are probably at the end of the form process scanning those into Laserfiche, and even some of the most advanced might be utilizing workflow after they scan that in. So those are existing options. What we're going to talk about today is some of the latest options available. So let's take one of those forms and show you just an example of a student application. Now this could be any application, and this is fully customizable as you see when we go. But you can take this Laserfiche form and you can go two ways. If you see the arrows, you can actually route this form outside of Laserfiche in a forms workflow and get your approvals on the form side before you bring it into Laserfiche. Now you've always got the option to go down, which would bring a Laserfiche form into Laserfiche and then utilize workflow to get all of your approvals. So now we've got two options for you to route your forms. Now, this is an example of that routing, for instance, just a very basic example of a forms workflow. You've got the standard on the bottom, you fill it out, and you process it, and you've got an exception workflow on the top. So it's very basic. We wanted to show you this just because you'll notice on the left some drag and drop options. It's as simple as that to create a new form. Now, as we look at the form designer, this is also very simple, not something that you necessarily need AMI or IT to do as we go forward. For instance, you can see this basic student application form that we created, and on the left-hand side, you're going to see all of the drag and drop options available to you, and all you have to do is drag it over and release it, and it'll create a new line and new content and text that you can fill out in that area. Now, the cool thing about it is that you can now get direct approval and direct routing via email. So rather than necessarily going into workflow, it's a much simpler methodology. Sometimes you may not want to convert that form into Laserfiche until it's been completed. So this is part of what we'll show you today. Now let's talk a little bit about business processes. It's very interesting. I had a conversation yesterday with a director of IT of a higher education facility. And this is a highly technical oriented organization. They've got all types of technology within their organization, and it's a large school that's got 30,000 students. But one of the things when I asked about workflow and what he was doing for business process, he was kind of sheepish that they had not implemented really any workflows yet. And the reason, he said, is that the users, what he called the functionals, are so busy that they're really unable to take the time to learn a new process, and oftentimes these workflows are difficult. And it's interesting, we hear the same thing from the functionals saying that, well, IT's too busy to implement, and innovate. But what's really exciting about business processes is it is entirely innovating the workflow process, because in the past, you had to really understand if you got an email that said you've got a job to approve and you've got something to do with it. Oftentimes, people forgot what they were supposed to do with that and they sat on it. But now with business processes, it turns it into a super workflow, we believe, because you've got a dashboard that you can see on the right that it gives you all of the instructions when you receive that link via email, and you can read what is this? What am I supposed to do with it? What's been done so far? All of that allows you to participate in the routing and the workflow, and even, let's say you receive it and you want to start a new workflow from scratch, you can do that. It provides analytics. So you've got the ability to either departmentally or across the entire enterprise from an IT perspective, you've got the ability to look at your business processes and recognize what new activities you can experience, as well as provide all of the reporting for all of the processes within your department or the enterprise. Now let's talk a little bit about workflow and what's new in version 9. This is an example of a dashboard that provides you specific reporting and analytics on a specific workflow. You know the old saying that you can't manage what you can't monitor? Well, this changes all of that, because now you've got the ability to recognize exactly where maybe processes are holding up, maybe where processes have a particular constraint, and you can make the changes necessary to optimize your operation. Exchange and iCalendar is a new feature in version 9. So the ability to schedule meetings out of Laserfiche with either Outlook or iCalendar is very cool, including creating tasks and creating contacts. Let's talk about some of the integration capabilities with Laserfiche 9. So the ability to fill out online forms and post information to a web service. So the ability to push and pull from your forms to and from a web service is a very cool integration. We've added some additional activities, including reading XML and downloading electronic documents. And hooray, we're all very happy for the ability to schedule OCR. So you can take OCR functions that can be computer intensive and put them off to a down period. Delete links is another example, creating entries. Let's take a look at Laserfiche 9 and some of the new features for the clients. We've got Office integration now so that you can have buttons within your Outlook, Word, Excel, for instance, to save and integrate directly with Laserfiche. The ability to restore default settings. That's always nice. It seems like oftentimes users are reluctant to make any changes to their interface because they're afraid they won't be able to get back, and now you can. Web access is received an overhaul too. Now you've got the ability to drag and drop directly into your web access thin client. It also includes the Office integration we talked about. And we're finding more clients using scanning via web access, and so we've found some new enhancements there as well. Now we know it's a mobile world, so let me show you some stuff that's going on with mobile. We can access now our documents on the go very simply, including searching, export, and all types of productivity tools, including capture. So here's a peekaboo. This is an iPad login, for instance. Very simple and straightforward. It includes gestures, so you'll be able to use all of the common gestures that you use on your iPad now or available with the Laserfiche iPad app, as well as iPhone and Android. You can export out and send it as an email, one button, or add to a library. You've got the functionality to maximize your metadata pane so that you can actually work with the document and include additional fields. And you've got the ability to actually type in with the keyboard included in the iPad. Another example is adding to your library. So you see the libraries on the left side. It's very simple, one click to add any documents to that library. You've got advanced search capabilities. And the capture has really revolutionized the way we're going to be capturing now. You know, the CCD in these cameras or these phones is incredible, similar to scanners. So we can capture booklets, posters, and we can provide color conversion, auto cropping, and compression. Here's an example of a web page that we were able to capture off of our iPad, and a letter. We see this an awful lot for travel and expenses. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what's new in Quick Fields. It is truly a PDF-friendly system now. So you've got the ability within Quick Fields to quickly scan and convert PDF to TIFF. So you can take those PDFs and convert them to the native TIFF format very quickly. Now in Quick Fields, you've got Zone OCR. You can use percentages to make it even more accurate. And we've got the ability to accept OCR text so you don't have to re-OCR a form that you bring in. This is compatible with Laserfiche 9. You don't have to go to 9.1. So you got a new look in the universal capture as well. And all of those PDF options I spoke of are available in the universal capture. The capture engine has got new post-processing options as well, including the new PDF and new search option. What else? We're now running on Windows 8 as well as Server 2012 and SQL 2012, including some of the latest, most modern browsers. But wait, there's more. We've got a user group meeting at Laserfiche in Long Beach next month. So we hope that this will whet your imagination. At that user group, we're going to actually create some workflows and business processes. So you're going to get a chance to be much more interactive and be face-to-face with us. So thank you for joining. We wanted to mention that there is a gift. We're going to be speaking of it after we finish the demo, and Sarah's going to be able to get you a free Laserfiche Certified Professional Program PPC class. So that's a terrific value, and you get to choose from 12 different classes, 12 different topics. So please do follow up on that. The only catch is it's for a limited time. We can only do it through the end of this quarter. Okay, as Sarah said, if you have any questions, please do include those in the chat box.
All right, and now I'm going to turn it over to Michael to give us a demo.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Tom. I'm going to go ahead and show my screen, so please, everyone, let me know when you can see my screen. Tom, am I up?
Yeah, Michael, you're up. You may want to just tee up the demo.
Tee up the demo. Yes, I absolutely will. I just want to make sure that everyone did see me first. So great. Yeah, this is Michael, head of ECM, Enterprise Content Management. I'm going to actually be running through an HR onboarding. In other words, we're going to hire someone today. And keep in mind, I'm sure this is not how you guys hire people. This is just kind of a generic idea that we can all kind of identify with, because hey, we've all been hired before, right? And it should kind of highlight some of the new features that Tom was talking about, and hopefully give you some ideas of how you could use some of these features in your own business. So without further ado, what I've done is I'm looking at a web page, and just like any other website, we're going to apply for a job at Laserfiche, and just like any other company, typically they'll have their job postings online. So that's exactly what I have here. I can click on a link and view jobs. So right now I'm just kind of navigating through a website. Here I've listed Laserfiche has listed the open jobs presently, and I want to apply for the sales account manager position. So as soon as I click on this link, this is the first time we're actually navigating away from the website. We're actually navigating to what Tom was talking about, Laserfiche forms. And so this is actually the Laserfiche product, which you could, like I said, link to from your website or from an email or just about anything. And you'll notice, hopefully, that when I click on the sales account manager position, when we navigated to the form actually recognized where I came from. And because of that, it actually has pre-populated my desired position. Now I have the ability to override that, but I could, I don't necessarily have to. So the idea is you could either, pre-populate some field values based off of where the user is coming from, or just track where the user is coming from so you can see where your advertising dollar, say, is going. Before I go too much further, I kind of want to point out this is typically what we're used to when we fill out forms online, right? We've all bought something from Amazon or booked a plane ticket online. you've got standard fields, drop-downs, we'll have radial fields, things like that. And all required fields have the red asterisk. Now you could actually put some note up here that says, all required fields have an asterisk if you want to specifically call that out. The general look and feel of the form itself is completely customizable. So I don't expect you all to have a blue background with the orange Laserfiche logo on it. You can put your own logo, whatever background you want. And the nice thing is, you don't need to know HTML code. No coding is required to do, just about anything in the Laserfiche form portal. It's a very simple drag and drop design interface. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of march forward and try to fill out this form very quickly. So if you see me kind of free-filling some stuff, it's just because, well, I've applied here before. So just punch in my address. Address is not required, but let's provide the information anyway. And go to US. Now, primary phone number. This field we actually could set up, say, what we call field constraints. In other words, phone number, we're expecting to get a 10-digit phone number with 2 dashes in the middle, right? If someone doesn't fill in 10 digits, more than likely they're missing something or they provided too many numbers. So say, for example, someone only fills in 9 digits and they tab out of the field, we want a pop-up to show up and say, hey, the desired format is 3 digits dash 2 digits, 3 digits dash 3 digits dash 4 digits, and you didn't comply, or you're missing a number, something like that. And so we can actually do that and restrict them to fill in the form in a manner that we expect. So I'm just going to keep going here. Okay, so I've gotten to a point where, just because I'm filling in a form doesn't mean all the information is on it. Laserfiche Forms has the ability to upload documents. So I can choose files to upload, or I could actually drag and drop them directly onto this online form. I'm going to elect to select mine, and you can see just like that, it actually uploaded it to the form, and it has a link to it right here. So at any time, anyone who's looking at the form would actually be able to look at the resume that I just uploaded. And then I have an open text field where I could type something. Okay, and as soon as I've completed my form, I can click Submit. And a couple things have already happened. Of course, it's thanking me for filling out the form, which is excellent. I'm going to go ahead and close this window, basically, and you can customize the, thank you message. Thank you for submitting your form. We will get back to you shortly, something like that. Oops. But what's happened right away is as soon as that document was submitted, we went ahead and emailed our recruiter to let a recruiter know, hey, a new application's been submitted. Please, basically go in there and make sure that it's filled in correctly. We want to make sure that we're only sending applications to hiring managers that are worth even considering. So we shot an email out to our recruiter, which simply says, click here to view the submission and approve or reject the application in the browser. So the nice thing is, because this is simply viewing a document through a browser, I could do it from a smartphone, iPad, laptop, what have you, anywhere where I can get on the internet. In the header, I can see, it was submitted about a minute ago, and it's been waiting for me for about a minute. Now, most everything on here is, if I can just get my scrolling under control, most everything on here, excuse me, is read-only. The reason for that, we certainly don't want to be going in there and correcting Michael's application if he screwed up. And you can make whatever fields read-only or editable as you want. So you can see we left the phone number as editable if we, if for some reason we wanted to. Really, we just left it editable so I could demo it for you in this example. but I can read through. I'm looking. I can see his education background. I could download and view the PDF. But more important, I can leave a comment and say, I like him. And because I do like him so much, I'm going to go ahead and approve this. So up until this point, we've been working with a digital form that obviously has never been created on paper, can be routed around. We only routed to one person, but if we wanted to, we could actually have the recruiter approve it and route it to another person, route it to a series of people. That's all completely customizable and configurable. Right now I'm actually looking at kind of like my inbox. If I had multiple applications that were waiting for me to review, they would all be listed here. So I could kind of just drill down and go one by one and either approve or reject them. I only had the one, so I don't have any other tasks to complete. I can just go ahead and close my browser. Now, before I jump back to my email, I want to talk a little bit about paper. I mean, Laserfiche Forms is great, but no matter how digital you take your business, there will be people that still want to come in and fill out an application, right? So we need to be able to handle that paper in some way. Excuse me, sorry. And that's where our Quick Fields application comes into play. So we can take multiple applications, drop them into our scanner, and I'm going to simply click on the scan button. And a couple things are going to happen. As I click on scan, the documents are collected from the scanner, and we're actually collecting PDFs. I only mention that because Tom had talked about the fact that we can now pick up, read, and collect PDF documents, which is obviously happening here. And the reason I'm using PDFs is because I don't have a scanner connected to my computer, but the software would function in the exact same way. Images are generated, and then once we've generated the images, we want to extract information from them. Okay, so here's the first application I scanned. You can see it's for a pre-sales engineer. He has a desired salary. Let me get this out of the way so we can have a little more room. Desired salary of $50K. First name is Marissa. All this information, we've actually read it off the document, and we filled in the template fields. The way that really worked is we looked for the words first name, and then we collected the next word next to first name and put it in the first name field. Look for last name, retrieve the last name, filled into the last name field. I'm not going to go through every field, but you get the idea. We're able to look for key values on the page and then extract information relative to it and fill in a document, or fill in our fields. And as I said, we have 4 applications here. So here's Michael Beppo. We also have Steven Martinez and Will Jackson. So just like that, I've scanned and populated 4 different applications and their associated metadata. So without having to type a single letter, I'm going to go ahead and click on Store, and my applications go into the Laserfiche repository. So I've got a lot going on right now, right? We've got 5 people who have all applied. So far, there's 1 person that has been pre-screened, okay? And let's say that a recruiter wants to go in and check on the paper documents. We could shoot him an email and let him know, hey, there's paper applications waiting for your approval, but let's go ahead and just have him do it. So Riley signs in, and he's going to go to Human Resources folder under Onboarding, New Applicants, and we can see all the applicants that have been that have applied here. Michael Butler's already been pre-screened. Let's go ahead and screen someone else. Let's screen Steven Martinez. So if I open Steven's application, I can view the paper document that was scanned. We can see the business process that Tom was talking about down here. It's the HR onboarding process. It's currently running. it's been waiting for about a minute, but considering on average it only takes me 6 days to even look at the application, I'm moving pretty well. The next step is the human resources approval. Gives me the instructions and any history, which there really isn't any because it's just been created. So please screen the application. When finished, select screened or rejected in the application status field. So let's just go ahead and change the application status field to screened. Basically, by updating this field, I'm letting Laserfiche know that I've completed my work, and we can evaluate the next steps based on a number of different pieces of information. In this case, we're doing it simply based off of the application status. Okay, so with that, I want to actually close out. Riley's kind of done his work for the moment. He's screened 2 different applications and forwarded them off to the next responsible party. So if I look in my Outlook, now unfortunately I only have one version of Outlook, and we're going to pretend that we're using it for multiple people today. So right now, if I was Matt, the manager, the hiring manager, I would see there were 2 new emails in here for me. One for the new applicant, Michael Butler, and one for the new applicant, Stephen Martinez. So this shows that we're actually generating these emails dynamically, leveraging the information that was either extracted from the online form or extracted from the paper application itself. Hopefully you all, excuse me, hopefully you all also notice that I have this attachment. Excuse me for a moment. Sorry about that. Hopefully you'll notice I actually have this attachment to my email. Now, I really love what Laserfiche has done with this. Most of us have smartphones now, and if you have a smartphone, you've probably had it configured so you can receive your company email. That means that if someone sends you a sensitive document as an attachment, you either can't open it on your email because it's encrypted or password protected or something, or it's a bit of a security risk because if you lose your cell phone, someone now has access to that document from your email. With the Laserfiche attachment, this is actually not a document. It's actually a shortcut to the document in the Laserfiche repository. That means that I need 3 things in order to open this attachment. Number 1, I need to be able to access the Laserfiche server. Pretty simple. I need to have Laserfiche installed. Make sense? And then I also need to have a username and a password, or Windows authentication, to access the document and the server. So pretty much you've got 3 forms of security on there. If I don't have all 3 of those things, this attachment opens nothing. So even just viewing it has no idea what to do with it. But if I double-click on it, the Laserfiche application pops up, asking for my username and password. Again, I don't have Windows authentication. Otherwise, it would automatically recognize me and pop me in, and it will actually take me directly to the document in Laserfiche. So pretty quickly and easily, I've navigated directly to the information I need. So there's a couple of neat things that are going to happen here. We've taken the information from the online application that Michael filled out, and we used it to fill in our job application paper. And one other thing I want to point out, down here in the onboarding process, we're actually filling these fields in as the process goes along. So we're actually going to keep track of Michael's progress through the hiring process right here on the document. So we'll be able to see that. We're maintaining our business process. So again, the manager can look down here, and of course, all of the instructions have changed. The status has been updated to applicant information sent to the hiring manager. It's taken us about 8 minutes on average. Again, it takes me 6 days. What is the next step? Well, the participant, Matt, the manager, me, has instructions to review and either approve or reject. I think you get the idea of the business process. Oh, let's look at the history. Since before it didn't have much, we can actually see that there have been a few steps along the way here. But I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what, this Michael guy, yeah, I'm interested in meeting him. I approve him. Let's get an interview going. So as soon as I approve the application and close it, remember how Michael was in with the other applicants under the onboarding folder and new applicants? Well, he's no longer here. Here's where I'm keeping all of the new people who, have either just applied or have been screened, but we're not really interested in meeting them yet. Well, as soon as I said I was interested in scheduling a meeting, Michael's folder actually moved into the under considerations folder. So I'm able to organize and sort through my process simply either through the metadata, in other words, the template fields, or directly through the folder structure. Also, as Matt the manager, we can only see 2 folders. That's basic Laserfiche security. You all are fairly familiar with Laserfiche security, I'm sure, so we won't talk too much about that. So Matt's done his job at the moment. He's interested in meeting Michael and updated the status to reflect that. As soon as he did, we let the recruiter know that, yeah, you know what, the hiring manager wants to meet this Michael guy. So we shot out an email saying, please schedule an interview with Michael using the date and time field to note interview date and time, and leave a comment in the application's note field. Michael's phone number I didn't capture because I edited it. That was my bad. I shouldn't have done that. But a couple things happen here. When Riley, the recruiter, you know what? I'm not going to use the Laserfiche client this time. Let's imagine that Riley is out for the day. Maybe he's out checking out the King's Parade, right? After they won the Stanley Cup, and he gets his email, and as a good recruiter, he knows he needs to get Michael in for an interview right away. So what we're seeing on the screen right now is actually the Android Laserfiche application. I just happen to be showing the Android application. Laserfiche also has an iPhone app, iPad app, and I believe a BlackBerry app as well. So while I'm at the parade, I whip out my smartphone, I put in my username and passwords, log into Laserfiche from the mobile app, and we're actually connecting from my phone here to the Amazon cloud. So Riley comes in, he goes into the human resources folder, under onboarding, under consideration, and I get Michael on the phone, and let's say I want to, I can view the document here, but what I really want to do is update the metadata, right? So I click on the metadata button, and we'll be able to see all the templates and fields that Michael has available. But more importantly, as I scroll down, I can set the interview date and time. We actually had the workflow pre-populate this with today's date and the time of being right now. In other words, we think Michael's doing absolutely nothing and is sitting in our lobby waiting for us to tell him to come in. Now, we only did this really to show for demonstration purposes. We could say, let's make it a week from today. Set the default a week from today to see that Michael is willing and able to come in. But for our demo, right now, it works just fine. But we needed to fill in some notes. So let's just say he's excited to be here. Okay? And I'm going to click on my check mark to update it. And then I can go back. And my work is done. So with that, I'm going to actually close out. And I'm going to, let's go back to the server, and we'll see what happened with Michael's application. Okay? So as soon as Riley scheduled the interview, we turned around and we emailed the manager. We wanted to let him know, hey, Michael's coming in on this date at this time. And after the interview, please update the status. I've attached the application, of course, because it's pretty important for the hiring manager to have that. And excuse me. I've also attached a series of brain teaser questions that Matt, the manager, likes to ask of every applicant, just so he has them conveniently at his fingertips. So let's go ahead and sign in as Matt. And we sit down with Michael. And Michael decides, or at the end of the interview, Matt decides that, yeah, you know what, I like this guy, let's make him an offer. So I'm going to update the status field to offer made. And I know I'd mentioned it before, but I don't know if I showed it. We actually are keeping track of each step on the form. So the next piece that will be filled in was the offer. We'll fill in the date and time. But as soon as I'm ready to make an offer, I can go ahead and close the application. And really, I could close Laserfiche, but I don't need to. Couple things are happening here. We've shot out an email to Michael with the PDF attached of his offer letter, right? So we can actually turn around, and I CC'd myself here, so we could view it and say, hello, Michael. Laserfiche would like to extend an offer, to you for the position of sales account manager. Please view the attached PDF. And if we open that, we can see we've actually created the offer letter on the fly, filling in the information from his application. And all Michael needs to do is print this out, sign it, bring it in. But because we're diligent about our document management here, if Matt, the manager, goes back into under consideration and looks inside of Michael's folder, he's going to see a copy of the offer letter already stored inside of the system. So we want to maintain all the documents that we generate. But Michael's a diligent employee, brings in the application, or the job offer signed and ready to go. We can scan it in. I can update the application status to hired. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And right away, a bunch of stuff happens. First thing that happens, Michael's folder is going to move out of under consideration. He's no longer under consideration. He's now a full-fledged employee. So if I look under employee files, we see Michael Butler's folder. And within Michael Butler's folder, we see the application and the job offer. Also, we all know how onboarding an employee, how labor-intensive onboarding a new employee can be, right? They've got to fill out all the paperwork. You got to get them set up. Maybe there's a handbook you have to get them to read and sign that they've read. So we can actually send all that information out individually and have them deal with it all, or we can try and get that consolidated into one piece as much as possible. And that's what we're going to try and do next. In other words, when I come in and I've been hired, let's say there's a, direct deposit application, there's probably health insurance applications, certainly tax forms, and on just about every single one of those has, first name, last name, maybe social security number. So you're filling in the same information again and again on multiple documents. Doesn't make a lot of sense and kind of takes a lot of time. So we're going to try and streamline that by getting someone to fill in one form that's going to fill in all the applications for us. So I've gone ahead and I turned around and I emailed Michael and emailed him just a simple link. Now we might say something more direct like, Michael, please log on and fill in the appropriate documentation online at your leisure. So Michael can get this email. He clicks on the link. He grabs his employee number. And from home or from his smartphone or what have you, he can open up the form. He fills in his employee number. And as soon as he tabs out of the field, we're actually doing a database lookup. We know that a lot of the information that's grabbed during the HR onboarding hiring process could be used in multiple applications. It's not necessarily going to only be used the one time and then be forgotten. So we're actually taking all the information collected during the hiring process and exporting it or copying it to an external database. In this case, I'm copying it to a SQL database. But basically, we're making it available for other applications to use the same information that's already been collected. So in this case, when I fill in the employee number, I'm actually turning around and looking into an external database, finding the employee's first name, last name, address, and, if necessary, social security number, and filling that information in. I've even made it read-only so they can't come in and change their own information. We're actually going to have them fill in account information. So if I'm applying to do direct deposit, I need to let them know, what is my bank, maybe the routing number is 123, account number is 456. I'm going to deposit money into my checking, $789 and no cents. Well, maybe I have two bank accounts, right? Or I'm going to, and my second is for USAA. Routing number is 987-654. And I'm going to put in $321.12 an hour. And I can keep adding. Now, I've set it to actually have a limit because the form that we're filling out only has a limit of 3 accounts that I can actually do direct deposit in. I'm not going to use all 3. I'm only going to use 2. Now, this is a pretty limited example, mostly to save us time and to give you an idea of what can be done. I can even put a check in the box to save the unfinished form and complete it later. So in other words, if I'm filling out, it's probably quite a long form if you're, depending on the amount of information, documentation you need a new hire to finish. So they could actually save it, go and take care of something else, and then come back and pick up where they left off, which is pretty nice. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Submit, since I have completed the application. Thank you, your form has been submitted, and a bunch of stuff happens right away. So if I look back into Laserfiche, we can see there's a new document inside of Michael Butler's folder. It's actually Michael's W-4 form. So if I open that up, as soon as the document shows up, it may be, I'm sorry. Excuse me, I'm getting over a bit of a cold. We've filled out the W-4, pre-filled out the W-4 form for Michael. Obviously, we haven't filled in any of his deductions, but at the very least, we put in first name, last name, employee address, and employee name, because we already have that information collected from others. The direct deposit application, again, we've pre-filled it. Pre-filled it with information collected prior. Company code, probably going to be the same for everybody. Street of Grocers, our payroll manager. As we scroll down, we can see I filled in the employee name. We could fill in the employee's social if it was available. We filled in the 2 bank accounts and the intended amount of deposit. So pretty neat. We can basically use the information collected all at once to fill in multiple documents fill in multiple documents all at once and save the employee and HR a lot of time. Excuse me for just a second. All right, sorry about that. So that kind of sums up our HR onboarding demo. We've also done quite a bit with records management, but I think that's probably a demo for another time. But as Tom mentioned, we've actually brought in some other applications to try and streamline and automate the metadata capture and retrieval of documents from Laserfiche as much as possible. And we're doing that using RatchetX. What I have here is my simulated content resource, it's a CRM, it's content resource management software. And we pulled up a student named Oscar. Basically, we're actually going to try and change gears here and jump out of the HR idea. And I'm actually, imagine that I'm running a school. And I have a bunch of different students that have their student records stored in my Laserfiche system. I need to be able to retrieve those as quickly as possible. I need to be able to scan and index them as quickly as possible. So let's go ahead and imagine that Oscar comes in and he has a couple questions about his, his student records, and we want to try and pull up everything that Oscar has submitted to us up until this point, because we know Oscar's missing something, but we just can't remember what it is. So RatchetX has actually added this button to the toolbar, the menu bar of our CRM, and we can add this button to just about any application you can imagine. The nice thing is we've pre-configured a bunch of different types of searches, and those searches are actually listed by what the screen I'm presently looking at. So the fact that I'm looking at Oscar's CRM, when I click on Ratchet, I only have certain options available. And the first one I'm going to show you is search inside of Laserfiche. So when I click on search, we're actually going to grab the student number and do a quick search inside of Laserfiche and find everything that Oscar's provided. So looking at this list, I can see he's got financial aid, personal statement, an upgraded application, but he seems to be missing his identification card. So I tell Oscar, excuse me, but you have your driver's license with you. And Oscar certainly does, and so let's go ahead and scan that for him. So I can close my search window. I'm going to go back, and I'm just going to, because I'm already here, all that metadata is already captured. I don't want to re-index all that stuff. So what if I just click on Ratchet and said I want to scan the Laserfiche for Oscar? So when I click on scan, we're actually pulling information out of that CRM, using it to pre-populate our fields. Now all I have to do is scan the document, scan his ID, we'll store it, and we can see that I've got his driver's license with all of his student address, student email, first, last name, student number, all of that information actually pulled out of the CRM and filled in for me, so I don't have to do any of it by hand. But what if what if I have a new document? I'm actually just going to create an empty document here. So let's say I have a document for Oscar. This one contains no pages, but if I had a document for Oscar, and then all I needed to do, it's already in Laserfiche, but for some reason it never got indexed. Or maybe I dragged and dropped something into Laserfiche, and it never got indexed. Again, with Ratchet, I can, because I have all that metadata available in some line of business software, I can click on the Ratchet tool and say I want to populate a Laserfiche fields. So again, I'm going to pull the information out of my line of business document and use it to fill in the metadata of the document I'm presently looking at. So even if it's just information that needs to be updated on the document I'm looking at, maybe this information is wrong, I could do the same thing. Go to my line of business application and just, again, say, populate Laserfiche fields, and it's going to update the field information on the document I'm looking at. So it would actually correct anything that was missing. Pretty neat, if you ask me. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Now, we're using this fake CRM as an example, but RatchetX is really built to work with just about any software that you have. So we can scrape from a web page. In other words, if you're using a hosted solution, we can actually pull information out of that. If you're using a old DOS screen, we can actually extract information out of old DOS screens and use that to either search or populate or do anything that I'm showing you. And the nice thing is, this isn't just a connection to Laserfiche. We can actually use this software to move information from just about any two pieces of software. So if I needed to copy information, say from an accounting system, accounting software, into an Excel file, I could do the same thing. I could say, I want you to grab the information from my accounting software, copy it, and put it into an Excel table in a specific way. So it's really nice in that it has multiple connections to just, like I said, just about any piece of software, and interfaces very nicely with very, very easy to configure user interface. So I hope you see a few things that seem worthwhile and can improve your business as much as I think it can. Unless I have any direct questions, I'd like to hand it back over to Tom. So without any further ado, Tom, I hand it over to you. You ready, buddy? Tom, are you there? Have I lost everyone?
No, I'm here.
I'm here.
I think Sarah's got it from here. Thank you, Michael.
Oh, I apologize. Sarah.
All right, thank you, Michael. And attendees, I want to open it up for questions. If you have any questions for us, please enter them in your chat box, and we'll try to address them. I currently don't have any, so I do want to ask Tom if you had anything final to add while people enter the questions.
Thanks, Sarah. That went kind of quick. All of the presentation, the demonstration, everything went pretty quick. I hope that you got a chance to see the automation of quick fields, bringing in those applications, but also now the new form methodology. And use your imagination to consider that maybe it's not an employment application, maybe it's some sort of other type of application coming from the outside, or another form that might exist in one of your departments. It's very simple to customize any of these forms for your organization.
Thank you very much. All right, well, it looks like we don't have any questions, but I do want to let you know, if you think of a question later, feel free to email me at sarah@amipaperless.com. And we will be sending you out a couple different items. Just in terms of, we will send you out a video of this webinar in the event you want to go over it again. And I just wanted to let you know I serve as George and Tom's assistant, so I will reach out to you at some point or another. And I look forward to speaking with you personally. Thank you, Michael and Tom, for this presentation, and thank you all for joining us. If you have further...
One more comment. Just a reminder, we've got the user group meeting coming up next month at Laserfiche. So that's going to be a great time with us as well as the Laserfiche folks. So you'll be seeing some emails from Sarah on that. Also, your special gift. If you will email Sarah at amipaperless.com, she will make arrangements to get you your coupon for the CPP class. And those are the things that I wanted to remind you all of. Thanks again for attending.
All right, this concludes today's webinar, and have a great day, everyone. Bye.